Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I'm joined by Izzy, who packed up her life in California and moved to a tiny island in the middle of the Irish Sea. No playbook, no guarantee it would work, just a decision to write a new chapter. I came across Izzy on TikTok and fell in love with her page and her love for the Isle of Man that we both definitely share. Welcome to the next chapter, Izzy.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here and super excited to collaborate with you. It seems like I just stumbled across your channel recently, actually, and I fell in love with your channel as well. And just the changes and talking about transitional periods in life. And that's something that I've touched a little bit on my page, but not much. So it's nice to see someone talking about it.
Brilliant. Yeah. As soon as I saw your page, I was already planning starting a podcast, which I started at the start of this year, and I thought you'd be a brilliant guest to get on. Yeah, really looking
Thank
forward.
you. And congratulations on starting your content journey. I know it's not easy to take the first step and put your face out there and, get judged and worried about what people are going to think about you. But truly, once you do it a few times, you get used to it and put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, 100%. But we'll definitely be diving into a lot of getting out of your comfort zone in this chat. So, where are you from originally? Just a bit of context for my listeners, please.
Yeah.
And what did life look like before at the Isle of Man?
So I am a Californian living on the Isle of Man. And actually, I ended up over here because my mom is Manx. So I have roots over here. I have ties over here, which is actually nice because I've come into family and friends that I already had previously, which is great. But a little bit of backstory is I just decided to move. I actually followed my mom. A lot of people say that, when you're 18, your parents move out or you move out of the house or whatever else. But when I was 18, my mom moved out of the house away from me and moved back to the Isle of Man. So I followed her a few years later and decided to just, settle roots here.
So that was a few years ago. We were talking before. That was 5 years ago. Is that right?
5 years ago, yes. Yeah, it'll be 5 years August 1st, which is actually insane now because I can't believe how long I've been on the island.
So, what were your first impressions? What was the first week like?
So it's
Yeah,
it
because
was
it's a big
very
change,
different.
right?
Yeah, yeah. So when I first moved over here, I had grown up coming over every year for about 6 to 8 weeks at a time from about a month old. So coming to visit family, coming to see people, meet friends, and stuff like that, which is why I had connections here already. I was very familiar with the island in terms of like locations and stuff previously because I had visited so often. But moving here was so much different than visiting. And I'm wondering if you had the same experience because when you're visiting, obviously you're in holiday mode and everything is fun and great and amazing. And, you usually come in summer, or I did. And it was beautiful and sunny and great. And then it's like my first winter here, I cried a lot. I did. I cried a lot. And, I seriously considered moving back, genuinely considered moving back. And, it was a tough one at first. And then, I got my very first really good winter coat, and it was a game changer, honestly, it was. And my first pair of wellies as well, and it was an absolute game changer. I was ready. I was ready. I was prepared. So, moral of the story is be prepared for winter because it's a lot more enjoyable when you're not soaking wet and freezing.
Yeah. So for me, we were speaking just before we hit record. I was a big motorbike fan. Back in
Mhm.
2013 was my first TT. So yeah, so I came over then, and then we came over again a couple more times. And I was actually speaking with my brother earlier, and I think the last dry TT fortnight was 2023. We're in 2026 now. And I came over, Izzy, for 3 weeks, obviously, those three TTs, and it didn't rain once. Seriously.
I bet, yeah.
Uh, Unbelievable. Obviously, on
False
holiday.
advertising. It is absolutely false advertising, 100%.
Yeah, and I remember people kept telling me, they said, "No, it does rain in the Isle of Man," and I said, "Well, I haven't seen it yet." And then when we came over, when we were looking at houses, we were having job interviews, we were looking at schools for the kids. I remember we were in Douglas, and the heavens opened, and yeah, I texted someone back at home, and I said, "It does rain in the Isle of Man."
It does indeed, yeah, sideways sometimes. It's not great, not off. It's yeah, first winter here is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. So, but I wouldn't change it for the world now. I absolutely love it here and I would never look back.
When did you know that you needed a change then? Was there a specific moment back in California?
So I am one of those people that likes epiphanies, and for some reason, I just have loads of them. And most of the time, when I have these epiphanies, I do all of my epiphanies in one go. And so a lot of times, I decide to just do all the change in one transitional period because I think that's just the way that things have unfolded for me is just in clumps of change. So for me, it was quite a lot of stuff was going on in America already. And there was a lot of crime and a lot of hate. And, it was just becoming a really icky place. And I wasn't responding well to it physically. I wasn't responding well to it mentally. It was not serving me well. So I decided one day as I woke up and I just, decided we need to move and I needed to move. And I packed everything up and we left very shortly after. So it was really just, that's that. We're going now. Bye.
Wow. So it was just that. It was a build up of things because a lot of people say to me, "Why did you move?" And it's such a hard question to answer, isn't
Mm.
it?
It
Because
is, yeah.
it's a manifestation of many, many moments, I think, many reasons.
It
Um,
is, yeah, and there's so many reasons that, contributed to my decision to move, I suppose, that, consciously and subconsciously were at play. And I think one of the things was I was already in a transitional period in my life back in California where I had just become a mom. I felt sort of out of place. I didn't know what I was doing yet. In America, it was so expensive to hire childcare. So it was actually better for me to be a stay at home mom than it was for me to go back to work because it was just eating my whole paycheck paying for a babysitter. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm not really the stay-at-home mom kind of type. I love to be busy, and I'm a workaholic. I really enjoy being out and working. And so I was in this weird transitional period where I was getting used to being a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't feeling quite myself. Everything was changed in my life. I gave up a lot of hobbies and a lot of my youth. I had a son really young. I was only like 20 years old when I had my kid. So it was quite a transitional period of growing up very quickly and not really having any ties at that point, but having a lot of responsibility. So I think what I just decided and motherhood was this is not safe for my child. This is not safe for me. And we're moving. So it was quite rash, but I would never take it back. I don't no regrets here. So
hmm. What
yeah.
did people say back in California when you told them that you were going to move to this small rock in the middle of the Irish Sea?
Well, they still think that, like, it's this rural middle of nowhere. Like, they think that we, like, don't have running water and electricity and stuff. Like, they just think that, like, we're non-existent because it's actually really weird. The Isle of Man is not on a lot of US maps, so they don't actually know about us or know where we are, which is kind of a godsend, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it is alright, at least we know we're kind of safe from America. But, it's not really on our radar, so people are like, "Where are you moving?" The UK, Ireland, Scotland, the Isle of Wight, like, it's just everywhere except the Isle of Man, and it's, like,
Yeah.
so difficult to explain where you are, and, they just don't get it, so it's I mess around with them all the time and constantly say, "Oh, yes, no, I need to hike up the hill and go milk my cow for my morning coffee every morning." So,
Yeah, I still get it from people in Bristol. Obviously, people in England, they don't know where it is.
I'm
They,
shocked about that, yeah.
yeah, some people think that I live on the Isle of Wight, and I'm like, well, no, no, I live on the Isle of Man.
Completely different place.
Yeah, I'm like, no, no, guys, I live on the Isle of Man, and they're like, Isle of Man, where's that? I'm like, oh God, yeah, yeah, it's so
Middle of the
funny.
Irish Sea. I'm like, TT races, Bee Gees, anything ring a bell for you? No? Okay. But it's crazy how many Americans flock over here for like BG experiences though.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. It's but yeah, it cracks me up how people's geography is so bad that they just don't know where this place is. But
it is shocking to well, it's always confusing for people when I go across because I'll go across the UK and taxi drivers and things start making conversation and they go, oh, sense an accent and they go, where are you from? And my traveled tired brain goes, the Isle of Man. And everyone turns around and it's like instant confusion. You just like see them turn around and you're like, wait, what? And it's like you can see them trying to piece together, like, do they speak American English in the Isle of Man? Like, is it like island full of where? Wait, I'm so confused. And then it's like I have to go in and explain, no, actually, I'm from California. I just live on the Isle of Man now. But I think that it confuses everybody anyways because they don't know where it is and, they don't know who anybody sounds like or what we're known for.
yeah, that's right, and the accent as well. My brother's just been over for the TT, and it baffles him every time he comes over. He says, "Well, you can't really pinpoint what they sound like, Manx people. It's this sort of mix between sort of Irish and
It's a
and
very distinct dialect, I find,
yeah,
and
that's northern.
sometimes, it's interesting because different parts I've noticed, and I think this is true, and, like, I'm sure someone will correct me if I get it wrong, but, different parts of the island have different Manx dialects. So, it's like they're very, very, very slightly different, but you can hear the, like, differences of where someone grew up on the island, and so you have some really gnarly thick Manx accents and, like, Peel fishermen and stuff and, like, the farmers and everything, and then you've got some not so thick Manx accents as well, so it's quite interesting, but the one that always gets me and how I know it's a Manx accent is Facebook. Book, book, yeah, Luke, book, that
Yeah,
kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's the sound, but that's how I always know, and, it's quite obvious, I think, nowadays.
yeah, and they say "cooker" as well, don't they?
Yeah, cougar. Manx accents I'm okay with, but I do struggle with other accents that, are a little bit thicker. Like, I struggle with Irish accents, really, really struggle with, like, especially Northern Irish accents.
Yeah. I was just about to say, literally yesterday, I was chatting to this guy in Douglas, and I was actually working in a house with an Irishman who's actually from Cork. Okay, so he's from Southern
Okay.
Ireland,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can understand him, most of the time.
Yeah.
But this guy came over and started talking to me, and I was like, "I'm really sorry, I don't know what you're saying. I cannot understand you." I was like, "I don't want to be rude," and and
Yeah, that's me.
yeah, and this guy I was working with was sort of overhearing our conversation. He was laughing his head off, and he said, "Yeah, mate, he did have he was from Northern Ireland, and my God, I couldn't understand him. It was mad."
No, no, it's really difficult. It's like and, it's hard. Welsh is another one I struggle with as well, like, from, like, really Welsh sounding accents, and, I had it the other day where I met somebody in town, during TT, and was just chit-chatting, and, they had a really Welsh accent, and I could not for the life of me understand a word this man was saying, and my friend somehow magically understood him word for word, and was translating in my ear. And I was like, this is great. Like, I need this all the time. But it was like, oh my God. I was like, how are you doing that? Like, it's crazy the talent. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I really do struggle with some accents.
Yeah, yeah, you want
Mm.
people to slow down and talk clearly, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
but yeah, like you were saying before, in the UK, there's a massive difference in accents all over, isn't there? Up in Scotland, they talk so
Yeah.
different to in the south of England, and then you've got
Yeah,
Ireland as
yeah,
well.
and it's like I get so much hate for it, but I like everybody hates me for saying it, but I love the northern accent. Like I do, I love the northern accent. It's like and I constantly make fun of my friends who are northern and I'm like, I don't know, like I just love the sound of the accent. And everybody hates me for Scouse accents as well. Like I love a Scouse accent. So it's like I just feel like people hate on accents, but it's like and there's so many that, like, people dislike, and I'm just like, "Oh, no, that's so much cooler than, like, an American accent or whatever else." It's like even Birmingham accents, like, I would take that over, like, some of our Southern accents and things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brummie accent's quite distinct as well, but yeah,
Very
funny.
yeah.
It is funny, isn't it? So, during that transition period when you were first moving over, how did you handle the doubt from others and from yourself as well?
But that's a very good question. So, perseverance is one of my key skills, I feel like. It's just you just keep on keeping on. And that's my thing is like everybody who knows me knows that my number one said phrase is it is what it is. And I live by that phrase. It is what it is. And I think, to be fair, what that means to me is it's just, you just have to keep persevering. You just have to put one foot in front of the other, suit up and show up, smile and breathe every day, and you get somewhere. And it just is something that is so important that sat with me all the time. And it's like my mom, I actually got it from my mom when I was a kid because I used to go to school and I'd have so much anxiety going to school. I am ADHD, as I'm sure everybody on the internet already knows. But it was really difficult for me during school and I never wanted to go. And so my mom always used to just tell me, suit up and show up, smile and breathe, and try your best every day. And that is the things that I have lived by throughout my whole life. And I think everybody should live by those because if you do your best every day, you try your hardest, you smile and you breathe, it's all right. Like you can get through most things.
Mm. And that perseverance has served you in many different aspects of your life, I guess.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So I've started over, I think over, 6 times now in my life in different various ways, which is crazy because I'm only 27. And it's something that has always been a part of my life is resilience and change. And so much so that when I was about 15 years old, I wrote a whole speech on resilience to deliver in church. And it was quite interesting because it was supposed to be something similar to what this podcast is, which was a self reflection and to kind of see who you are. And to me, upon that self reflection, realized I am one resilient person. Like I am like rubber, I just bounce back. And that's something that I'm quite proud of in myself as well is that, it's like I have been through some really tough things in life and I have been through some really hard situations, but I've never let the world harden me and I've never let it change my viewpoint on people.
Mm. What do you miss then about California? What was hard, like really hard to leave behind almost? And I guess
Mhm.
you go back to visit every so often anyway, or
I haven't been back in a few years, to be fair, but
okay.
the state of it isn't exactly appealing at the moment to
Mm.
walk back into, to be honest, Luke. So I haven't been back in a few years.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody on the internet already knows like where I stand in terms of feeling safe and patriotic in
Mm.
America. I'm not super patriotic, but I think the things that I miss about California are my community. I missed my people, I missed my friends, I missed my village. And I had a good village in California. I had a really good village. And I still have that village in California that I'm still in touch with. And, we keep in contact often. And sometimes we lose touch for a little while, but we come back in and we talk and we pick up right where we left off. So I think the village was the hardest part to leave or the hardest thing to leave, as well as the fact I do still have family there and stuff as well. So
Mhm.
hard to leave that. But familiarity as well. It's hard to step out of your comfort zone and do something that's different, and change is hard. And, you're living somewhere different. Everything's new. The food's different. It's a hard adjustment. But if you persevere enough, then you get through it and you make it out the other side.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting in the beginning, of course, but then you go through that lull, don't you? You sort of dip,
You do.
and the realization kicks in, and you're like, "Wow, wow, this is a bit whoa." But in the beginning,
Mhm.
you're sort of running on adrenaline, aren't you? You're sort of
You're on that like cloud nine feeling of, wow, I just moved across the country. It's like, this is new, this is exciting. And you sort of have this, false sense of security because you have had this holiday time here that makes you feel like it's going to be like that all the time. And it's not, unfortunately, but it is in some ways like that.
yeah, yeah. So many people that I've spoke to, they say, they told me back at home, back in Bristol, they were my hometown. They would say it's not going to be like a holiday every day. Of course, it's not. He said,
Yeah.
just make sure, why don't you rent your house out? Why don't you rent over there? Why don't you just test? And
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
I've always been a sort of all in sort of guy.
Me too. Yeah.
And it was a big move for us, obviously, with the kids and stuff as well, like it was
Yeah.
yourself. But I was like, no, we're just going to go for it. I've got such a good feeling about this, and I just
Yeah.
followed my intuition, and thank God that I did because it's worked out so well for us.
No, that's amazing, and it's like it's hard to take that plunge of deciding to do it, and deciding that, it is scary and it will be hard. And of course, you are sensible in the sense that you do realize that it will have a hard period, but you are still on that cloud nine of being excited to actually move over and have something new and exciting.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, it's a really, really good point. What would you say to people that say that Isle of Man's boring as well? Because I was having a really good conversation with somebody during the TT. He was an ex-TT rider, and he had moved over 20, 30 years ago, and he was saying, we were having this conversation because my brother was talking about him, about
Mm.
moving across, and my brother, each time my brother comes across,
Yeah.
he's that seed's been planted, definitely, just like it was with me. He said, "Oh, it's lovely here, and it? It's this, it's that, it's safe." That kept on coming up, and
Boys.
yeah, always. And that TT rider said, "Well, yeah." He said, "I don't get it, Luke." He said, "So many people say that the Isle of Man's boring, but it's not, is it? Um, it gets such a bad rap. I mean, obviously, you coming from California
Yeah.
as well. What's your take on that?"
So I think my take on it is that I think, and I say this to people all the time, it's like, I have family here who has grown up here and has been here their whole lives. And they also have the similar mentality that it's boring, there's nothing to do,
Mm,
blah de blah de blah. And it's like I understand that where that's coming from completely. I do. And it's coming from the fact that we don't have enough on the island for our young people and our
mm,
teenagers. And the age group of like 10 to 17 or 18, it's like at 18 people start drinking here,
mm,
which is wild, but we don't have anything for about 10 to 17-year-olds. And
mm,
it's like unless you're involved in sports or scouts or whatever else,
mm,
there's just this massive gap. And so I think that's where that stems from. But people kind of assume that's like all of the activities, but there's tons and tons of activities for adults. There's tons and tons of activities for kids and families, and there's tons of places to go and play. So it's really family centric. But I think the issue is that obviously there is that gap. So people see that gap and they go, oh, there's nothing to do here.
Yeah, yeah, it is a really, really good point. That is one of the worries for us. Obviously, having young teenagers, that worry that they might get bored and then start
Yeah. And
moaning, and that's always been played on my mind. Obviously, we've moved here because it's safer, and it's a more family
yeah,
outdoorsy sort of place, which we're all into. But then there's always that worry on the back of your mind that your kids are going to get bored and start, being resentful for the booze and
dabbling.
stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah, so no, that is definitely a worry, and you know what? Like, having a child myself, I do worry about that as well. But I find it odd that the mentality here is, "Oh, just get them into sports." And
Mm,
it's like, well, yes, I understand that mentality, but like instead of having the mentality of let's just get everybody into sports, why don't we create more activities for those young people?
mm,
Why don't we fill that gap?
mm,
And that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, Luke, is, in this new transitional phase and this new change in my life is starting to create different things for that time period and sort of fill that gap. But I think that that is where it stems from is the fact that people don't think there's anything to do because there is this massive age gap of activities. But if you're in the ideal age gaps, there's loads to do.
yeah, yeah. No, that is a really, really good point. So TikTok, talk me through how it started. Was it ever meant to be serious, or did it just happen?
So TikTok was actually quite an interesting story. So I started the TikTok back, god, it's going to be 2 years now. So that's crazy. Oh no,
Yeah.
I lie. It's going to be a year now. So it's going to be a year that I've been on TikTok now. And it's pretty crazy. I think it's a bit over a year now, but I really enjoyed doing it. And it started out sort of as this passion project hobby type vibe. And I have been doing content creation, videography, photography, loads of stuff, digital media and design since I was like 12.
Oh
And
wow.
it's like I've been doing it my whole life, Luke. Like I have always loved it. I've always done it. I did it throughout high school. I opted for digital media and production, video production. I was in a visual and design academy throughout high school, which was a special art academy that I got to basically learn how to be an professional artist, which was great. And it was really cool. And I really, really loved it. And it is something that has served me well my whole life. So it started out as sort of this passion project of where I used to just make videos all the time, anyways.
Mm.
And I'd share them on my personal pages and I would share them with friends and I would send them, make birthday videos and make, not vlog necessarily type videos, but more so like things that were sentimental and wedding videos for friends and stuff like that. And that was always my gift to people whenever I attended their wedding as a friend was I would do their photography, their videography, and then their
Mm.
wedding pictures and videos afterwards, which was always a thing. So I've always done it my whole life, and it was sort of a passion project, but it was also meant to be sort of this way to share my art with other people as well.
Mm. So you've always have had that creative side to you?
Yes, I'm not sure if you can see my living room too much, but let me show you what I can show you. But basically, I don't know if I can turn you around. Let's see. I don't know if you can see all of my art on the walls.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got loads and loads of art, but these are all I'm a big artist. I really love to paint. I don't believe in canvases. I just paint directly on the wall. Which is, it's something that people judge me for, but it's like I also really don't care because it's something that is a passion of mine, I suppose. And I really love doing it. So artsy, yes, I've always been artsy. I've always been somebody who is in a creative field or role or doing something creative with my time.
In your content, you describe it, you say it's all about laughs, chaos, and community love. Where does that energy come from?
So for me, the most important thing in my life is bringing happiness and something to life. Like I want to leave this earth feeling like I have left something good here. And something I'm been very passionate about my whole life is activism work and standing up for people's voices, advocacy and things like that. It's something I've always been passionate about. So to me, building community and making sure that the community has what it needs is something that I feel really strongly about. And I do feel like as beautiful and amazing as the Isle of Man is, there are some gaps in this that we are missing. And I really want to fill that because, it's like I've come over to the island. I really love the island and, I love living here and everything, but I want to contribute something to the island as well. I don't want to just come over here and, be like, oh, this is a beautiful place to live. It's amazing. I want to bring something as well. Like I want to contribute in a way that I'm useful and, people can see that I really am for the island. I really am for the community.
Hmm. We were speaking before about how it's such a tight knit community here. How has the community responded to you?
So obviously you get the like occasional, I'm sure you've gotten a few, maybe not, but occasionally, you get the often, what is it? Oh, there's a boat in the morning comments or whatever
Yeah,
else. And
yeah.
it's like, well, there's actually not always a boat in the morning. So, it's like, thanks for the comment, but no. But it makes me feel a little bit better because I do have family here. So my family goes back to like the 1600s here. So I do have lots of familial connections and roots. My mom is as Manx as the hills. She just moved off the island when she was 21 and decided she wanted a grand adventure in the USA before moving back here. So I do feel a little bit better in terms of that, where I do feel like I slightly belong a bit more in a way. And I do feel a little bit more privileged in that sense because, I have to just say, oh, so and so is my mom or so and so is my uncle or, my cousins are. And people start to recognize you by your last name and stuff. And it's like, I am still on my married name. But my maiden name, if I went back to my maiden name, people would often recognize that immediately, which is great. So I think it's I feel a little bit more invincible. I'm not going to lie, Luke. I do feel a little bit more invincible, but I am very careful because I do not want to come off as somebody who is fully knowledgeable about the island. I don't want to come off as somebody who's cocky or like a know it all because I'm not. And I am here for the laughs and the community and, the love. And all I want to do on my page is bring awareness to people and bring awareness to businesses on the island and spread joy and love and positivity and kind of maybe talk about the differences between America and the Isle of Man and kind of just bring some positivity to people's feeds because we are so often scrolling through just crap all the time and depressing crap and dead children, dead dogs, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, it's not good for your psyche to see that all the time. And, it's just not great. So I would like to be as positive as I possibly can and bring as much love and community to your feed as possible.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the energy, and I always feel the positive vibes, obviously. That's
Thank you.
yeah.
I hope so because it's like I just want everybody to feel that love and, feel accepted on my page. And it's not a place that, it should feel like anybody's excluded because I want to welcome everybody.
So going back to the transformation, obviously moving countries, building from scratch online. What has it taught you about yourself that you didn't know before?
Ooh, okay. So it's actually pointed out a lot of confidence issues in the sense that, it's like when you're filming and you look at yourself over and over again, editing and editing and editing, and I'm sure you have the same thing, Luke.
Yeah. Mm,
It's so uncomfortable, and you hear yourself talk, and it's just you just sit there and you go, "Is this stupid? I just feel so stupid." And it's like you just think, "I'm vain, I'm stupid, nobody's gonna watch me, I hate it, like, I hate myself," like, it's like it's horrible, and you start having all these, like, negative self-defeating beliefs, and it's like you start realizing, like, how toxic cultural, like, influencer world can be, and it's like I hate that word influencer because I just don't believe in influencing. But I think content creating world is so self-critical. You are so self-critical when you are a content creator.
mm,
And I think once you get out of that phase, you become a little bit of a more confident person because realistically, you can handle interactions with people a lot better because you've been staring at yourself all the time. You know what you're talking about, you know what you're looking at, like, and
mm,
what you look like. And how people respond to you, I guess. But
mm.
it is it's a very different sort of lifestyle. And to be honest, it's like I absolutely love it. I love the community that I've built. I love my followers. I love like each and every one of them. And they put input into like what I say. They care about what I have to talk about. And I'm just really grateful for each and every one of them. And I just love when people come and approach me out in the wild and, say, "Oh, hey, Izzy, like I watch your videos." And I'm like, I just feel so like, accepted. But also on top of that, I feel like I am bringing something that people like and that people want to continue to look at. And that's something that's not only validating for me, but is something that is building towards my overall goal of, bringing more community to the island and, bringing more stuff to the island.
Yeah, I think it's the ultimate sense of fulfillment when you can give back. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's I could go into a whole philosophy side of that. And it's, I love philosophy, but it's like they always say, like, is giving back truly selfless? And I don't think in this situation it is fully selfless. It's like, as I said, like I receive validation from it as well. But I think on top of that, it's nice because it's like I can see the community all together as a whole. And it's nice to see people supporting other people. It's like, there's TikTokers and other TikTokers on TikTok from the Isle of Man that, I like to try and support as much as I possibly can, hit a repost, a like, a comment, a share, whatever else. And it's like, I just think that, if you're succeeding and someone else is succeeding, if they're succeeding, you're not going to lose success off of their success. So everybody should just, there's enough success to go around. So I
Mhm.
feel like if you support people, good things come back in return.
Yeah, it's the belief that there is so much abundance out there that we can all help
Yeah.
each other along, right?
Absolutely, 100%, and I fully believe that. I don't think that anybody should have to, suffer for somebody else's benefit.
Yeah, and I think when you see other people online, the other people, yeah, building an audience, building their pages. I won't say the word influencer because, yeah, but
Keyword, I don't like it.
yeah, content creator, whatever it might be. You feel for them, don't you? And obviously, we want to support each other because we know how hard it is. I was chatting to my wife only yesterday about my coaching business, and it is so tough. Every day you're posting content and you're getting hateful comments,
Well,
and
there's that, and it's like, it's people don't realize that it's insanely and extraordinarily time consuming. Like, it is so time consuming, and you don't get paid a cent for it. So it's like you literally like people think, they ask me this all the time, and I don't know if you get this yet, but how much do you make from being an influencer, Izzy? Nothing. I make zero pounds and zero pence, like none. I have made absolutely nothing off of me content creating. And it is purely a passion project. And it's just, I think people have this sort of imagery of like, "Oh, she must be making loads of money because she's got these followers and this engagement and stuff." And it's like, well, actually, no, because the Isle of Man doesn't do the creator program. So we don't get paid. None of us TikTokers do.
yeah, yeah, that was one thing when I moved across. course. So I started out in affiliate marketing when I was living back in Bristol, and
Yeah.
a lot of the affiliate marketers that I was working with, they were doing TikTok Shop because that just
Oh,
started
yeah.
at the time a few years ago, and I remember starting it, and then I moved to the Isle of Man, and I carried on doing it, and it just wouldn't work, and I'm like, hang on a minute, and then of course punch it into Google or Chat GBT or whatever, and
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't work on the Isle of Man. I was like, brilliant.
Nope, nope, nope. We don't get a lot of things, Luke. We don't get a lot of things, which is kind of nice, but also like would be nice to, make something off of the amount of time I put into content creating because it's like people don't realize that you do scheduling posts, content creation, it's like you have to come up with a caption, you have to come up with new concept ideas every day. Like you've got to come up with new stuff. You have to post all the time, and it's like
Mhm.
I talk about this in my classes sometimes because I'll run digital media and like content creation classes and things on the island. And I talk about it constantly, but it's like people don't realize the amount of effort that it takes to be a content creator or your own marketer. Like you are essentially a whole marketing team in one person.
Yeah, until you get big enough, you can't dedicate like anything, so you've got to do
No, no.
everything, and it's so tough, and you try to explain to people that haven't done it, of course,
Yeah, yeah,
they're not
absolutely. And
they're not
I
gonna
just tell
understand.
people in their content creation journey that like if they're just starting out, like even 2 posts a week is fine. Like don't burn yourself out because it is so hard to fit in time to like film, edit, and get it out before, the time frame of, doom, I guess. It's like, otherwise you fall off. So
Yeah, I mean, the delayed gratification for it is unreal, and that is why so many people give up.
yeah, it's it's very that is definitely something that's really difficult and I think like it's hard and I'm sure you relate to this as well, but when your videos don't get as much engagement as you would like or you had hoped, it's obviously a bit like discerning because you feel like, oh, I've put so much effort into this. I've edited this, it's like I once dropped a video I think it was a few months ago actually, but it was like I spent 4 hours editing that video. Like it was so edited. Like I did absolutely like it was my baby for like a full day and it took me 4 hours to do it and it literally got like 300 views and I was like like it hurt. I was like, "Ow,
Yeah, you
great."
take it
But
so
like
personal, don't you?
you do, because it's like it's your art or your work or something that you're really passionate about. So you do feel like, "Oh, am I a flop? And should I even keep doing it?" But I think you have to work through those feelings and kind of just get out the other end. Like it's really hard to overcome it, but I think I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I didn't put it out for views. I'm not putting things out for views. I don't really care. I'm putting things out because I want to share what I'm saying with people. I think that's the mentality you have to have.
Yeah, and you're constantly testing, aren't you? You're testing whether things are gonna work, whether they're not, and yeah, you just got
Analytics and strategy, yes,
yeah,
all sorts. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah, it is. It's a lot, but it's something I am passionate about, and I do absolutely love it, and wouldn't change it for the world. So I am happy and very very grateful for the people that do support me.
Yeah, and you've really gotta love it because you're gonna wanna quit so much. I tell people getting into it, I said, "Are you sure
Yeah,
you wanna do this? Because it's gonna be a rocky old road." And of course,
it is.
it's one of those unteachable lessons. You can't teach people this. They've got to do
No,
it themselves.
no, no, and I tell my clients this all the time, my media clients. It's like you just have to persevere. It's like the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, and the more it becomes like second nature. And it is awkward and uncomfortable and horrible at some times, but you just have to keep pushing through because it's not about posting because you want the views. I said, I always say, I'm like, don't count numbers, don't watch your numbers, don't watch your views. Just focus on what you're putting out there. It's like, would you be happy with 100 people seeing this? And you know what? We forget that 100 people walking by our window, seeing us in a window, would be a lot of people. But it's like to us, 100 views is not that many because we've had more. So I feel like it's all about perspective. And that's in the sense of anything to do with life, to do with content creation. It's all about perspective.
It is, and it's so hard on social media as well because you're constantly comparing yourself. to people that are ahead of you, aren't you?
You absolutely 100%, but that I think is just the danger of social media in general is that you're constantly comparing yourselves to other people's lives, other people's jobs, other people's, career paths and, abilities and skills and qualifications. There's so much comparison online, but truly each person's life is unique and different. So not a single person is going to be the same and have the same skill sets or whatever else. So I think once you realize that everybody is unique in their own sense and that you are insanely special in your own way, you just need to accept that and stop comparing yourself. It's
Mm.
like there's a quote, and I can't remember who it's by, to be honest, but it's like comparison is the thief of joy.
Thief of all joy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
quote.
It is. It's a great quote. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate to it so much. People always say, didn't they? You've got to be authentic. You've got because you are unique, and you've got to, give out your
Mhm,
vibe, and
mhm.
you'll attract
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
tribe. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it's so true. And if you try and
Yeah.
if you end up comparing yourself to other people and then copying other people, that you're gonna you're gonna attract the wrong people.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
gonna create the wrong audience. So they say,
Absolutely.
just do you, be you, and you'll attract the right people and you'll be
Mhm.
happy. And but you've got to try and let go of the views, the likes, the follower count and stuff. But it's so hard because, like you said before, you care so much about creating these videos and doing a good job. But then when you release that out onto social media, you got to sort of let go and surrender, and it's just really tough. It's so hard.
Surrender is hard. Yeah, it is absolutely hard, but it's like I think you can say about like that about anything in life. It's like you have to just let go and surrender and just see what the universe brings back to you because I think the sooner that you accept that you are who you are and that, life is I'm trying to think of like where I want to go with this, but it's like you are who you are and life brings you what you need. So I feel like you just kind of have to trust the process. And that's another thing that I say all the time is constantly like just trust the process because it's like, the end is never the end.
Mm.
Never the end. And it's like, it's always the start of a new chapter or a new transitional period or a change in some sort. So it is hard, but I think the sooner that you get over the views and, wanting people to like you, you just accept who you are and people do flock to you. You get the right people coming towards you. It's like I said, I'm grateful for each and every person that supports me on TikTok. And I have noticed that, the people that do support me are very similar people to the way that I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Um, I just remember, yeah, I remember seeing your first video, and I was just like, wow. I said, "There's this this girl from California making these funny videos," and it was really relatable. Obviously, we just moved here as well, and yeah, like I said, you give out your vibe and you attract your tribe, and your audience is going to be those sorts of people. But
Mhm.
you're always going to get those negative comments, aren't
Oh,
you? You're
yeah.
always going to get, you know,
But you're always gonna get haters in life. So it's
yeah.
like, it's I just like we have a saying for it in America, and I don't know if it's a silly saying, but we say it all the time. It's like, don't drink the haterade. It's like, don't drink the haterade. And it's like, you don't care about your haters because it's like ultimately haters are haters. But like the way that I look at it as well, Luke, is this fact that like every engagement is an engagement, right? So it's like if they choose to leave a negative, crappy comment on your video versus a positive, happy comment, it's still the same amount of engagement.
Mm,
So
yeah.
realistically, they're just boosting your views.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then, well, yeah, any engagement is good engagement. And
Yeah.
yeah, any comment, any like, and then you're going to start that conversation. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you trigger people, it just sets them off, doesn't it? And then all
Well,
these
one
people
thing
jump
that
in.
I've found over here, and I like don't know if you've had this on your video comments yet, but like people will fight for you. Like you don't have to argue with people. You don't even have to defend yourself. It's like other people will be like, leave her alone. And I'm like, oh my God, like thank you, like Barbara 9682. Like that's so I appreciate that. Thank you. But it's like it's so touching, like in such a weird way. I'm like, I don't know who you are, and I don't think you know who I am, but you're standing up for me because you're just standing up for me. That's so like touching. And it is funny because it's like sometimes I'm like, should I turn my comments off? Like there's a little bit of a war going on here. And I do try and moderate as much as I possibly can because I do feel like I do have a duty as a content creator on the Isle of Man and a content creator in general to make sure that my comments are a safe place for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, but it's the whole
Yeah.
balancing thing, isn't it? It's, are you doing the right thing? And yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's all
It
part
is,
of the it's all part of the content journey, right?
all part of the experience, Luke, all part of the experience indeed.
So, has island life changed you as a person?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's like it's funny because I always tell people, like, from a physical standpoint, I came over here with like the world's highest cortisol levels. Like, I was off the charts stressed. Like, I don't know what was going on in my life or what was going on in my body, but like, I was the insane amount of cortisol in my level, like, or insane amount of cortisol levels in my body were just massive. And within a month of moving here, my cortisol levels dropped to normal and have never gone back up.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I feel like that in itself is a sign. And there's a whole bunch of science behind that and biology and stuff as well. Like, and your environment has a lot to do with how you feel and your mood and everything like that. But in terms of America specifically, obviously, there's a lot of stress hormones in our meat. There's a lot of stress everywhere. There's a lot of chaotic community trauma that always happens. It's like everything bad's going on all at once, constantly around you. So it's not a very nice place to be. And it's not a very nice place to be with a child. So I feel like I instantly became less stressed when I moved here, which was great. And I not only just became less stressed, but I slowed down in life. Like, I completely slowed down. And I remember the first job that I had over here, I was running around like a chicken with their head cut off because that is the culture I came from, was hustle culture. And America has hustle culture. We've always had hustle culture. We will always have hustle culture. And it's like, if you're not hustling until you're exhausted at the end of the day, you're not doing things right.
Mm.
And if you're not hustling to the point where you're going to just completely die of exhaustion, you're seen as lazy, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We are just a hustle culture country. And it's really unfortunate, but I didn't realize how hardwired I was for that. And when I came over here, I remember in my very first job, my boss pulled me aside and said, "You need to slow down." And I was like, "What?" I was so confused. I was like, "What do you mean slow down?" And they were like, "Well, you're just gonna burn yourself out." And I was like, "Isn't that the point? Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Isn't that what works for? Like, aren't you supposed to burn out and like, drop dead and then like, retire at 65 or something?" It's like that was like my whole point. I was like, that's the whole point. You hustle until you die and then you just drop dead. And they were like, "No, no, 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 like work-life balance. Like, you gotta chill. Like, you just chill out." And it's like the same thing with like working over here while you're ill. It's like people would get mad at me for responding to a Teams message while I was off ill. And I was like, okay, like I'm so confused. It took ages for me to get out of the mentality of work is life.
Yeah, yeah. I find that so much coming from the UK as well. Well, coming from England. I remember we went back to Bristol last year, and I think I've been away I think we've been away for about 3 months, and a supermarket had been built in this area of Bristol where we were living, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I said, "In the Isle of Man, there's still building sites now that are still going since I moved over 2 years ago. It's everything's so slow, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes you so long to get used to
Trade
it."
the lore, Luke.
Yeah,
Trade the lore.
Trader Laura, that's it.
Praise the Lord. It's you know what though? Yeah, I really appreciate it though, because like it is so nice to have and live in a place that really believes in the work-life balance, really believes that what, work should just be at work and life should just be at life. And that's so refreshing. And I think it is so hard to get out of the mentality. Like the UK is 100%, hustle culture as well. And it is like, I'm sure coming from the UK and the hustle culture, it was a big adjustment for you as well. And it's hard to get out of it. And, 2 years in, I'm not sure if you're fully out of it yet. It's like it took me 3.5 years before I
Mhm.
started feeling like I could call out sick or like I could, take a day off.
Yeah, yeah, it's still an adjustment period. I say to my wife that I like colleagues at work will say to me, just slow down." But I'm like, yeah, but I've for
I still
decades.
get it. Yeah.
For me, I've been working like that for decades. Yeah, it is in me.
Me
I
too.
just I get to work and I
Yeah.
crack on, and it's been a massive adjustment period. I am definitely slowing down. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
yeah.
people
It's
people close to me here have said that I am
really
beginning to
fun.
be more chilled, but yeah, I'm still not there yet. Definitely not.
No, no, I completely, completely relate. It's like, I still get it 5 years later that, I need to slow down and just chill out. But it's like, to me, like, I was born into a country that creates high achievers. Like, we are expected. I tell people this all the time, but it's like when you're in like first grade, you get a little sheet, the ABCs to success, ABCs to success. And it's like first grade, and it's all the way through to college and university, and it's like they expect you to be, like, amazing all the way through your life, and it's like it's so crazy to me that they want high achievers, they try and create high achievers in America, and that's exactly why we're all stressed out and burnt out. So, to me, being this, like, high achiever is literally my culture, so to expect me to not be is really unrealistic.
Yeah, yeah, it's a massive adjustment period,
It's
and
a huge adjustment and a huge change.
yeah, yeah, you've literally gone from going like 100 miles per hour to like 20 miles per hour here. Really.
It's mad, and it feels impossible some days, it really does.
Yeah, when I tell people back in Bristol about the traffic, because we used to work near London quite a lot when my kids were younger, and we'd be on the motorways for
Yep,
an hour and a half, 2 hours each
yep, yep.
way, and you tell people that on the Isle of Man, and they're like, "What? Seriously, 4 hours driving a day?" And I was like, "Yeah, in really hard, like
Yeah,
really stressful traffic as well."
yeah,
And, yeah, I mean, obviously, California as well. I've been to LA and, I've been on those highways and it's like LA traffic is an absolute nightmare, isn't it? It's crazy.
yeah, you're stuck on the 405 a lot of the time, it's not great, but it's like, I've been that's another way I've been islandized, I suppose I always call it, but, I won't drive to Ramsey because it's too far away, or Castletown, too far away, and it's so funny because it's like, it has taken 5 years for me to say that, but coming from California, it's really funny because everybody takes the piss out of me, because I used to drive 2 hours to go see friends and then drive 2 hours back. And I used to drive an hour to work every day and an hour back. And it's like,
Yeah.
people are so weirded out by that. And it's like, that was just normal life. It was just what it was. But now I have the option to not. I just don't. So it's too far away. It's like never
Yeah.
gonna Ramsey.
It's so funny. I was working over in Laxey today, which is obviously on the other side of the island,
So
and,
far away.
so far away. And my wife said to me, when I got in, she said, This, that's another thing that is amazing here that I absolutely love. I've got to say this, that I can be at home at the same time every day. And literally, when I used to work in Bristol, my wife would ring me and say, "When are you going to be home?" And in the end, she
Yeah.
just give up because it could be any time because of the traffic. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
in Laxey today working on the other side of the island, and I got back like 10 minutes later than normal or whatever. And my wife
Mhm.
said, "God, you're a bit late." I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm working all the way over in Laxey."
Ah, you're doing it as well.
I know, and, and we were both laughing, and it's so funny, and yeah, and the
It
whole
is, it
Ramsey thing, I
is.
get that, but, it's so funny, isn't it? It
It
really
is
is.
so random though, like, you really do just get used to it. It's like everything's 15 minutes away, you know?
Yeah, I know, I know. So you've mentioned perseverance, many times, and that resilient mindset that's helped push you through. What's been the lowest moment since making the move, and how did you get through it, Izzy?
Ooh, okay. So I think there's been quite a few moments where I've had some experience that obviously has just been negative or horrible or hard or difficult. And it's not been all rainbows and butterflies. And it's like I do try and keep positivity and spread positivity and everything. And it's like, but it is there is, like, moments that have been really tough. So, one of the moments that have been really tough, and, like, not a lot of people know this about me, and not a lot of people have known this about me because it's something that I just don't really share, but it's like when I first moved to the island, I moved to the island with a partner, and when I came to the island, unfortunately, our marriage just dissolved. So, when we came over, we ended up separating, and now I'm now going through a divorce. But with that, I think it was hugely difficult because we had brought each other over as support people, and then we no longer had each other as support people. So it was a very odd transitional period, I think, for both of us, but also for me because I had just lost my husband, my best friend, and I moved to a completely new country, didn't know what was going on, what I was doing. He felt the same way. It was all kind of just this big mushed up pile of, oh my God, what did we do? And once we both, I think, pushed through that, we ended up in good places. And it's like now we're both in like really good places. But I think that that was probably the lowest point in being here was having to learn to be here alone.
Yeah, yeah. It must have been very, very lonely.
It was really lonely and, it was really like, jarring, I think, as well, because it was like I never had to just fall back on myself, in, like there were times back in California that I did have to fall back on myself, but I usually had my friends or support systems or whatever else, my village with me, and it's like with this one, I didn't have my village. I had my mom and I had, my family as well, which I was very, very grateful for, but I didn't have the normal people that I had to fall back on over here. So it was very much learning to go through grief by myself and support myself through the challenging times that were ahead.
But that's that's real pure growth there. I mean,
Yeah, it
what will come on the
was.
other side is yes, well, it's transformational, right?
It was, yes, it was. It was absolutely transformational, and it was grief, and it's like, it's like, thankfully, we are, two people that are, do still have a lot of love for each other and do, co-parent very well, which is nice. But it's like, at the same time, having to learn to grieve on your own, live on your own, be on your own, and support yourself through the really tough challenges that life makes you face. It's like, it's quite difficult because before that, I hadn't had to lean on just myself. And so I think with that, leaning on just myself, I came out the other end having a whole lot more respect for myself, but also having a whole lot more faith that I can get through a lot more on my own.
Yeah, it's a big shift in identity as well.
100%. Yeah. And it's like, I think it comes with growing up though. And it's like, when you grow up, you learn really at the end of the day, you're born alone and you die alone. So you might as well like your own company.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. Very well said. What does happiness actually look like for you now compared with before then, Izzy?
So I don't know if I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, Luke, but I am a big believer that you create your own happiness and you can decide one day to just wake up and be happy
Mm.
because that's what I did. That's what I
It's a
did.
choice.
And it is a choice. It is a
Mm.
choice that you make every day. And to me, I feel like the whole fake it until you make it type thing, it rings really true. And there is a lot of psychology behind it as well. Like, I'm a big psychology fan. I've done a lot of psychology classes. But for me, fake it till you make it, the smile and breathe mentality, it will change your mentality.
Mm.
But on top of that, I think the happiness for me right now is who I am and where I am right now. Like, I love the person I am right now. I love the place I'm in life and I'm doing really well. I'm thriving and I feel like I'm thriving. And it's like, I'm not going to say my life's perfect because it's not everything, there's like things that are falling apart. There's things that are going on behind the scenes and whatnot. But I'm happy to my core because I decide every day that I'm going to be happy and I'm going to do the things that make me happy. And I think for me, it's like the decision to not let other people influence my happiness, the decision to not be a people pleaser and to not care about what people think about me and to just be authentically myself has changed a lot of my viewpoints and a lot about myself, I guess. And so I think when you choose happiness every day, you choose yourself every day. And I think that's not in a selfish or vain way, but you need to choose yourself every day and make the active decision to continue to choose yourself every day. Because if you don't like yourself, you're not going to choose yourself. So you need to continue to work on liking and accepting yourself as a person in order to move forward in life because you won't progress otherwise. And that's the problem is you will stand in your own way.
Mm.
You will stand in your own way. And so for me, one of the things that I think really helped me and, in the last 5 years has been something that's changed my life is getting rid of negative self-talk. Completely getting rid of negative self-talk. Anytime you sit there and you think, well, I don't like the way I look in that, or I look fat, I look ugly, I'm stupid, it's whatever else, flip it. Something else. You say something like, oh, I'm so smart. it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to do. It's uncomfortable to say. And, it's awkward. But once you flip the script, you start speaking positively about yourself. And once you start speaking positively about yourself, your brain chemistry changes.
Mm,
So you have to start being positive with yourself. But one of the things that I was suggested to by somebody who's a good mentor of mine with negative self talk is if you're struggling to get out of negative self-talk is to start saying it out loud. Like anytime it pops into your head is just start saying it out loud. You can be sitting there with friends and go, I'm stupid. And everybody's going to look at you and go, what the hell's wrong with you? And it makes you feel like called out and judged. And you're like, it's like, why would you say that? Well, because I feel like it. Well, that's not right. So you feel really like silly, but at the same time, you wouldn't say that to somebody else. So why are you saying it to yourself?
yeah. They say, don't they, you should treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. You would never talk to your best friend like that, and you're always gonna
Yeah,
be your own worst inner critic, aren't you? But our
you are.
happiness is really determined by our self-worth and the way we feel about it.
100%. 100%. And the way that I always say, not I don't say talk to yourself like you're your best friend. I say talk to yourself like you're your child. Would you talk to a child that way? Would you look at a child and go, you're fat? No, you wouldn't. So why are you doing it to yourself? And it's like we all carry that little person inside of us. And so why would we talk to them like that?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, 100%. All the work that I do with all the books I read, all the self-development, yeah, it does so much of it comes down to um that inner critic and the way that we talk to ourselves. And if we can flip the script and get out of our own way, like you said, then
Yeah.
it really can lead to happiness. But it's tough and it's so hard. And people listening to this, hearing this for the first time, they're gonna so many of them are gonna say, "Oh, it's all a load of woohoo, a load of all mumbo jumbo." But when you start doing the work and you start seeing the results, I think that's the catalyst. That's when things change.
Yeah, and I think I would tell those people that, it might seem like mumbo jumbo, but at the same time, like I can tell you as a lived individual, I struggled with people pleasing my whole life. My
Mm,
whole life, I struggled with people pleasing and what people thought about me. And growing up in America and California, especially, Hollywood and, social medias, and you've got all the actresses and models and stuff, and like people around you and things. It's like you do become very self aware and you do become, very self conscious. And so for me, it took years and years and years of self work to get out of that mentality. And it's not easy in the slightest, but I also didn't think it was possible. And then I'm here. So it's like how I got here is baffling. It's crazy. I put in the work, but I got here.
mm, mm.
But I think it is hard to believe that it's possible until you've done it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is exactly, and it's the self doubt, isn't it? And I always say on this podcast with my guests, so much of this revolves around the stories we tell ourselves, and if when
And
we tell
people's lived experiences as well. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of the advice we get from other people is just them projecting their self doubt onto you, and I think so many people take the wrong advice and they get led down garden
Yeah.
paths, and then they become really resentful when they're older. And yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But our faults aren't us. I think that is a really, really key thing because people think that their faults, like that's them, but it
Yeah.
can't be, right?
Well, I had a really amazing mentor at one point in my life, and I was really, really grateful for him because he definitely morphed and changed a lot of my mentality. And one of the things that he always used to say to me is that you don't have to believe what you think. Like you don't always have to believe your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? Yeah, when
Mm,
you really think
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
You don't have to. I mean, it's just a thought, isn't it? It's like it's just because it's a thought that popped into your head doesn't make it true. So you don't have to believe them. It's like, why are we sat here believing them just because they're popping into our heads?
Yeah. That's why meditation's been so good for me. Been able to live inside my own head and not be
Mm,
distracted. And yeah, yeah,
being present.
yeah, exactly. Being present in the moment. So Izzy, if you could go back and speak to your younger self, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to stop people pleasing. That's the first one. Do not, just don't do it. And I think that's like the number one lesson I would tell people in life is to start learning to love yourself, prioritize yourself. It's like,
Mhm.
stop thinking about what other people think about you. And to be completely blatantly obvious and, or that, to be completely blatantly honest and everything, you realize in adulthood that nobody's looking at you anyways. Like everybody's too busy in their own lives looking at themselves that they're not looking at you. And so I think like it's ridiculous for people to think that they're important enough for people to be looking at them and judging them all the time. It's like, we're not that important. Like, sorry, we're really not. And so a reality check for me was is that people aren't looking at me because they simply don't care. They really don't. And so that would be my advice to little Izzy would be to just be authentically little Izzy and, stop worrying about people, what people think, and to just say no. Say no when you want to say no. Say no when you're uncomfortable. Say no in any situation you don't want to do. Just say no. Learn to say no and say it like you mean it.
Set boundaries and stick to them.
100% boundaries and self respect are the number one tips I would suggest to anybody that's looking to change their life.
So, what is the next chapter for you, Izzy? What does that look like, and where can people find you? I'll put all your
Yeah, yeah. So, oh gosh, what a loaded question, Luke. um, thanks very much. No, I'd say like the next chapter for me is I love life. I just want to live happily. So what my next chapter is that I want to bring community and happiness and love to the island in any way I possibly can, but especially through Milestones, which is my new initiative. It's my new community organization that is essentially going to bring more education and community and events and things to do and workshops and life skills and all sorts of things that are good to the island. And I think that is the next chapter in my life and learning to just, take things as they come and roll with the punches and whatnot and just live every day continuously being happy. So all I want to do is spread love and positivity, Luke. And that's my goal over here. And, I want to bring some light to the island and do what I can and try and bring some positivity here too.
well, you're doing a bloody good job.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm so glad. No, it's been so amazing to be here with you on the podcast and to hear, your wonderful viewpoints as well, because it's nice to hear, other creators and to collaborate with other creators. I feel like a lot of times people are scared to reach out because,
Mm, yeah,
people are scared of other creators, I guess, but it's
mm,
I think
yeah.
it's important that we band together and use our brains wisely.
Of course. Well, it goes back to the fear of rejection again, doesn't it? And people pleasing and stuff. I mean, you.
That's another thing I would say to anybody listening is get over your fear of rejection. 100% get over your fear of rejection because you will 100% get rejected. And you know what? You become stronger from each rejection.
Yeah, it is
You
so
do.
true.
Get over it.
I tell my kids all the time, I'll say to them, what have you failed at today?
Yeah,
And they'll sort of look at me and give me that funny look. And I'll say, look, the more you fail, the more successful you're going to be because you,
100%.
and yeah, and I think in this society, they've, and like what we're taught at school is it's all about success, isn't it? But,
It is.
um,
Yeah. But no, it's all about the failures. It's like, how do you learn from your mistakes if you don't make any?
yeah, yeah, 100%. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on today and giving up your time, Izzy. I've
No
really
worries. Thanks
appreciate.
for having me.
Yeah, I've really appreciated you coming on, sharing your story. I think you've been really, really honest, and it's great what you're doing. And
Thank you.
we both share such a love for the Isle of Man. And
We do. Yes.
yeah, so yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, building that page and building the community here in the Isle of Man. And I look forward to seeing what you bring in the future.
Aw, thanks so much, Luke. I'm sure we'll speak more and collaborate more in the future as well.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Izzy.
Bye.